And let me just first off by saying this. 40 under 40, that's a nice accomplishment.
Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. It was we actually just got back from L.A. last night for the ceremony, and it was very humbling. I know you guys know that I'm not usually without words. I'll speak my mind. When I found out about it, I was kind of rendered speechless. But, you know, when we were talking about it, Matt and Julie flew out, and you got the guys in front of me, the San Francisco 49ers and the Boston Red Sox, and you're talking about the guys for NFL and Fox, and then Temple's names right there. So I was really proud to represent the institution at such a high level. It just shows to where we are on the national scene.
The success of this football program is really something that is remarkable. You just saw last year they beat Penn State for the first time in 74 years. You get College Game Day. These were things that when I was a freshman, no one thought would have been possible. You see Tyler Medikevich is on the NFL Network the other day.
Right.
And now it's really a brand that is recognizable from a national perspective, not just here in Philadelphia. You had a big year last year, but you know it's all about consistency.
Yep.
How does this program, you do keep Matt, but how do they continue to build a consistent product on the field?
No, I think you hit on it really well. I mean, we have now built, we've always had a national brand with Coach Chaney and the success in basketball, but now we've become so, football has driven us to another level. And when I was at this event, now we're talking about everybody, even the SEC commissioner, Big Ten commissioner, the SEC commissioner, hey, you guys are doing a great job. Congratulations. And so it's really, we are known now as a really well-rounded program, and our other programs are really moving in the right direction as well. So I think for us, it's just continuing to get better. I mean, no one here or in our building is satisfied. I think we all knew what was coming, but now it's how do we continue? Our goal is to win championships, right? And how to consistently win championships, and that's what we strive for every day. We got a lot of work ahead of us. I mean, we got a lot of work ahead of us, and so I think we've got a group, not only in the administration, but all of our coaches that are just grinders, and they want to look for what's the next best thing, as we move forward, this next year, which is exciting.
Now we're talking to Dr. Pat Kraft, the athletic director at Temple University, and getting away from the X's and O's for a second, here we are at Edward Olson Hall playing on Chodoff Field right now. Just what does that mean, especially this season, the fact that they're playing at Chodoff Field? Yeah,
it's very bittersweet. I saw Joan down there, and I don't know. It's really sad, to be very honest with you. We've lost some really close people to our program, not just in football this year, and I get it, it's part of life, but Doc was with us as you guys know, every step of the way. There was no more loyal fan to the program on the trips. I remember, I've said this now to a bunch of people, when we were going to Idaho, we went to Idaho, which was maybe the worst trip I've ever been on in my entire career, right?
Product on the field.
Yeah, it was so bad. It is. Let's just call it what it is. It was awful, right? And then you're going across the country, and Doc gets off the plane. It's 7 in the morning here, and he looks at Mark Ingram, who was the head of our development at the time, and now the AD at UAB, and he says, "Mark, that trip almost killed me." And we're like, "Yeah, Doc, that was tough." He goes, "No, literally, it almost killed me." And so he was just so, he never held back any words. He was a great man, and he's missed. That first road trip next year will be different because he, like I said, he traveled every game, every game on the road, and so it's missed. So this is nice, and it was nice that we could honor him in that way today.
And the great part is that the players now, even of this program, still have or had that relationship.
Oh,
with
very
Doc.
much so.
It's like you see those messages from Kyle Friend when Doc passed away, and it's just incredible how a human being could touch people from so many different generations.
Yeah, he was so special. Paul will have a really good perspective. Paul and he grew really close, and Paul's a good man and really helped Doc, get where he needed to be, and when Joan couldn't be there. But I think that's just it, right? If you could say anything about a person, he was just a good man, and I think take the Temple piece out of it. He's just a good person and will really truly be missed. I miss him. It'll be tough. Football season will be interesting next year.
It certainly will. As we're talking to Dr. Patrick Kraft. I have to get to the stadium stuff.
Yeah.
So you had all the protests on campus, and we talked about this before. Protests are good. It's good to have this healthy conversation about the stadium and hear both sides of the argument. I know the way you lie on this one, you want the stadium. I am as well. I think there's more positives than negatives. The one thing I didn't really like, though, was a Temple student actually ran for Temple student government yelling at a tour group. I just thought that was over the line in that aspect of the protest. But what you hear from these protesters really are that this is not good for the community. The community doesn't want it. So since we have you here, How has Temple been getting that community perspective? And do you guys feel like you have gauged that interest from the community enough? And what have you been hearing from the community?
Well, so to be very upfront, I'm part of those conversations, but the president's office has really been doing this. Joyce Wilkerson, which works in the president's office, has really been working with the community for, not just since it came out, for year, even more than that. So the dialogue has always been there. Now, people are protesting. You kind of got to read through that. What are they? What are the real issues? And that's what we're trying to get at. And don't just kind of just go out and say, we don't want the stadium. What are the issues that you have? And so I feel really confident as to where we are with that communication. We are actively part of those conversations, especially when you're trying to figure out feasibility of a football stadium. But the president's office has done a great job of understanding, okay, what are the concerns? How can we fix them? How can we help you? How can we make this? Or even really, I've been in different conversations with folks, like just giving them answers. And I think communication is the key. A lot of people are just, well, it's a stadium and that's bad. Well, okay, but why? And then how can we kind of help you understand what's really happening? And I think that's the piece that we always say, the dialogue piece is key. But you have to be able to have that. It's not a screaming match. It's more of, hey, what can we do to kind of ease your the thoughts of this is going to be horrible. And I really believe that they've done a really good job of that.
That's what I like that your administration does. You have these open dialogue conversations, and you had that talk with President Theobald. I'm sure there were some people that got up and screamed, but that stuff is expected at that kind of events. But that's the big thing, is just to get the facts out about this, because it amazes me how many protesters or how many students still, and I would say that I can't gauge the entrance of how many students want and how many students don't, because I can't pull every single student out of this university, but just getting the facts out there are such a critical part, because there's some people that still think tuition's going to rise from this, and that's not going to happen from what you guys said.
No, it's not at all. And I think what we have to we keep saying it, but it's like branding and marketing for us. Like, you have to continue to do it before it sinks in and says, oh, okay. And I get it. Like, there's just, and maybe this speaks volumes, maybe there's just a lack of trust with Temple. I don't know why. I don't know what that reason for that. But we're being very truthful, very honest, very open. Like, everyone thought that this was built. This wasn't, there wasn't an architect hired. There was nothing. We were as the steps have gone through, we've been very transparent with the process. And I think that is coming now, as we've been able to sit down and say, kind of just have that dialogue. The protest, I don't know if you were there,
I saw them. I was there for the whole thing.
But everyone, it was a split room. Everybody, and then a lot of students came up to me and Dr. Theobald and I, and said, hey, I'm really sorry that happened. And I said, that's okay. I appreciate that. But it was people against it, and then there were people for it. The difference is the people for it were just sitting there listening, and probably a genuine questions like, where are we going to tailgate? Where are we going to do that? Like, which is
where the big game's going to be played. That's a big question.
Yeah, and so I think that's the piece that we need to get through. And so look, it's a whole process. It's just not like, hey, I'm going to buy the land and build a house. It's not that way. And I love it. I think it's great. I think that's what we continue to provide the board with, the information that they can make the right decision and moving forward.
And you mentioned that it's a whole process, and depending on who you hear it from, some people think it's going one way or another. As you mentioned, the architecture is not there. It's not like it's being built this second. But where are we right now within those talks?
Well, we're continuing to do basically a feasibility. And we talked about this, I think, when I was on your show last. We don't know what we can build. Yeah. Like, you can't have, and so it goes hand in hand with the neighborhood, right? Like, they want to know what it looks like. We want to know what it would look like. Maybe it won't impact anybody, the traffic and the parking situation, which I feel like we have a good grasp on that. But that's what we're trying to figure out. Can we do it for the budget we have? How big can the stadium actually get? What else can we put inside the stadium that will help the institution? And so you just don't say build. There's a process to it. So that's where we are right now. I'm working with AECOM and Moody Nolan to kind of understand that. And in the same vein, working with the neighborhood in that process.
And I assume it would also be a multi-purpose stadium. Is the intention, or would it just be simply for football?
I think our intention is to try to once.
Yeah, agreed.
It's a great question. No, it's a great question. I think that's what we're working through right now. I think there's opportunities in the early phases that we are now where there will be a great place for other auxiliary units to be housed in it. Now, remember, though, that comes down to budget, because the more you increase it, now the budget gets up to a certain point. And so I think and that's where we are, is trying to just really figure out what we really can do, and then move accordingly.
It would also be great because I know P.J. Walker played his state championship game at MetLife Stadium, so it'd be great to get the local high schools in there to play some of their games. And not only that, also, it creates jobs in the community. That's why I keep on saying this, and I'll say it again. There's more positives. The positives outweigh the negatives in this case for me.
I'm with you, obviously. I agree with you. But you know what the thing that's not being addressed right now with that is everyone talks about the stadium. I get it. It's that big. But what's in front of it is going to change Temple. It'll be a retail component with life, with energy right on Broad Street. And that will drive, that's jobs. That's, you guys as students, at night here, people are walking, roaming around. If we can it's like the last bastion for Temple, really, that piece of land. And so there's going to be a lot of energy outside of that football stadium. Remember, look at the front development piece, and that process is starting to take its course too. So coffee shops, the presence of bookstores, where people can kind of have a plaza to hang out and have a college kind of atmosphere, right? Like that's really key. That is never that conversation doesn't happen as frequently as the football stadium.
Now, before we let you run, because we got to get to Paul Boo Boo Palmer in a few minutes, a lot of high expectations for this team. What do you expect this team to do this upcoming season?
I think continue to do exactly what they've done. I think it sets up really well for us. I think I like what I like the way these guys have worked. They were not complacent in the offseason. I think our offense is going to be really, really talented. I mean, I believe they're going to be right. I think PJ is going to be as good as anybody in the country. I'm excited to see what they do. I won't make any predictions, but our goal is to get to the conference championship game. We want to host it, and we want to win it. And I think that's always going to be our goal and our expectation.
Now, I have one idea. Someone that's graduating here for you. We see you on the sidelines, and Mike knows where I'm going with this during games. And we talked about this before. I want to bring it back up to you, though.
Yeah.
We need you mic'd up for a game. Whether it's for Owl Sports Update or for Morgan and Kevin, they need to mic you up because I've never seen an AD like you on the field jumping up, and your vertical may be better than some of the players.
Hey, I thank you for that. I appreciate that. I'm sending that clip to my college roommates. No, I love it. But even like at the basketball in Brooklyn, with the turn, look at. I love this place.
That was heartbreaking.
It was heartbreaking, but watch it. Everything we do, and lacrosse is rolling right now. It's very easy. I just think you need to get behind it. It's so easy to be passionate about it. And football, as I've told you, that's where I'm most comfortable. I'm comfortable on the sidelines of a football field. I'm passionate about what we're doing and the direction we're going. I do appreciate that, but no, they will never mic me. I don't want to put me on camera. I'm not comfortable.
Since you
with
bring
that.
up the other sports, and I know we're here at the spring game today at Edberg Olson Hall, how would you summarize the entire state of Temple athletics right now, from even the main sports to maybe not some of the revenue sports?
I think I think we're exactly where this football program is. We're continuing to grow. We've had 4 teams ranked nationally this year. I think lacrosse is competing for a championship right now. Volleyball won 20-plus games. Women's and men's basketball won the conference championship outright. They got 4 tournament teams. Coach of the year twice in basketball. Blanca is just flat won every cross-country race. Fencing does what they do and win every. So if you're talking about state of a program, which is what I'm really proud of, we are right where we need to be. Now, I say the same thing about this program. We got to continue to build. We got to continue. We got to win championships. That's our goal. Win conference championships and compete. So I'm really excited where we are, and the future is extremely bright for us.
A lot of good battles here. You have Logan Marchi on the field right now. Defense and offense going at it with some new names as Tyler Medikevich and Matt Ioannidis. 2 big-time faces aren't no longer here playing on the field, but Mr. Kraft, we appreciate the time.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much. There's Pat Kraft joining us, WHIP Radio in Philadelphia. What we'll do right now is we will take a quick break as we're here live at Edberg Olson Hall.